We just don't have enough money, say the civil servants. And now, because of the recession, the cutbacks are terrible. But here's the real data. Over the past 20 years, government spending rose 66% to $5.4 trillion. That's total federal, state, and local. But if spending had just grown at the rate of inflation, today spending would just be over half that, $3.3 trillion instead of $5.4 trillion. Look at the difference. You'd think the politicians would be wallowing in extra money. Where did that money go? How can states now complain that they're broke?
We don't have the money to pay our bills. And we don't have the money because the legislature has decided it is more important to protect state employees and to protect all of the different people and labor and special interests rather than protecting those people and protecting the people of California, the taxpayers.
In California, government workers got extra protection when the legislature passed a law that decreed that most prison guards, police, and firefighters can retire at age 50 with a pension of 3% of their final year's pay multiplied by the number of years worked. So a police officer who started at age 20 can retire by age 50 and still collect 90% of his pay for the rest of his life. Heck, even beyond his life, his spouse collects if he dies. Today, thousands of retired California government workers get pensions in excess of $100,000. Here's a list of the top 10. The top earner collects almost $500,000. So what's to be done? The politicians' usual response is to cut services. This video is from Chicago, which held 3 reduced services days last fall. These men are disappointed that the senior center is locked. But such cuts can never make up for unsustainable growth and payments to government workers. Here's how it went down in Vallejo, California. Its pay and pension obligations to police and firefighters rose until they ate up 80% of the budget. The mayor cut back on community services and cut a deal with the police and firefighter unions that reduced but still gave raises to them. The unions were okay with that, but the public wasn't thrilled.
To our symphony, to our youth groups, to our senior center, we're getting 0 this year under this agreement.
The city council passed the service cuts, but it wasn't enough. Months later, the city had a $16 million shortfall. Unions wouldn't agree to further cuts, so Vallejo declared bankruptcy. And maybe, compared to being slowly strangled by union contracts, bankruptcy isn't so bad. Often that's what it takes to undo an unsustainable agreement.
Bankruptcy gives us protection. We're able to unilaterally reduce how much we're paying our employees.
Not that the experience has been easy for the people of Vallejo.
You can park anywhere you want in Vallejo now and not get a ticket.
Vallejo can't afford parking enforcement, doesn't have enough cops to fight street crime.
Free parking's nice, but you wouldn't like the crime and the impaired response to crime.
And he came and he beat the man in the head. Heck, it took the police and ambulance so long to get there, the guy's long gone.
Which makes people want to leave town.
Dozens of foreclosed homes are being auctioned off daily. Vallejo's downtown, spotted with vacant buildings.
Arnold Schwarzenegger attempted, even proposed, cutting state workforce by 2% in the middle of a huge meltdown. I'm going to maybe cut 2%. The president created a conference call and put on the other line a guy you had early on in the show who's been in the White House more than any single other person. That's Andy Stern, head of SEIU. What is a labor person doing on the phone with Arnold Schwarzenegger and talking about...
But what about the facts here? Dave Lowe is saying we cut 50%.
The amount of contributions that the state of California makes to the pension fund has increased in 10 years by 2,000%.
Talk about the firefighters. You made the point that they are risking their lives. They deserve extra breaks, right? Dave?
Absolutely. I think that police and firefighters who put their lives on the line every day, I wouldn't trade jobs with them, and most of them have a shorter lifespan because of the types of jobs.
What do you mean they have a shorter lifespan? How much shorter?
The actuarial studies show that the average police officer and firefighter dies before the other average Americans.
What actuarial studies?
So they have to have a...
Fishing is more dangerous. Farming is more dangerous.
Oh, yeah, they're no,
fishing and farming is more dangerous than being a police officer or a firefighter? I beg to differ.
Complete lie. What happens is, what I'm always told is police and firefighters, they die 3 to 5 years after they retire. So I called CalPERS, the employee system, and they gave me the data, and they live to be average of 82.6 years, the exact same age as miscellaneous. That's all the other government employees, and they all live longer than the rest of us. That's why we have an unfunded liability problem. And as far as what you're referring to is the dangers of the job. No, police and fire are not in the top dozen dangerous jobs. I mean, that's farmers and fishermen and drivers and construction workers. So, in fact, you know, firefighters, we pay them a lot. Most of the time, they don't have very much to do. I had a fire union chief who...
Well, let me ask...